Hello, good evening, everyone, and good Woch to everyone. Tremendous Parshas Vayetze. I mean, Yaakov Avinu is the one who occupies the most Parshas in Chumash Bereshis. Amazing. Okay, so let's get down to business. We're gonna first of all visit the Baal Shemtyov with Sipurey Baal Shemtyov. And then we'll continue with maybe a couple stories from Or Chaim HaKadosh, and then we will get to the Sichos Haran for tonight. So tonight's story of the Baal Shemtyov, it was the derech of Baal Shemtyov every now and then to be a guest in the inn that belonged to one of the people who were close to him. And there was a special room that he had over there that was dedicated by the inn owner. And one of the times the Baal Shem Tov didn't tell him ahead of time that he's coming. And when he opened the door to open, to his room, he saw a Goyish boy was he was the servant, as a worker of the innkeeper, lying on his bed. Well, the innkeeper became very, very angry, and he wanted to punish him, wanted to beat him up. But the Baal Shem Tov told him, "Don't do it. Leave him. He will later come and help you in your time of need." So the inn owner heard what he said, and he didn't hurt his servant. And the servant, the son of Baal Shem Tov, saved him. So he honored him and served him with everything he needed. After a few days of stay, the Baal Shem Tov left the inn, and the inn owner wanted to, he went on the wagon to do Melava, to accompany the Baal Shem Tov in his way. The Mishares, the servant, so the Baal Shem Tov traveled. He also wanted to accompany him, to accompany him. So when the Baal Shem Tov saw that the servant also wants to come, he ordered the Balabais to let him come also on the wagon. He told him again, you should know, this servant of yours will save you from a great trouble. You should be very careful, to treat him honorably and decently as much as you can. When they came back to town, the innkeeper asked his servant, how would you like me to be mechabed you? So the Eved said, I want to learn in school, want to learn languages, and I want to wear honorable clothes like the students do. So, okay. So the owner of the innkeeper did what he wanted. He registered him in a local school and dressed him appropriately. And the servant, that was very talented and smart, he very quickly learned, the curriculum, and very quickly he got, his degree. And when he came back to the inn after he finished learning, the innkeeper made him the manager, the account manager, and let him manage the inn. One day, the parrots came to stay in the inn. because that area was next to hot springs. I don't know, sulfuric hot springs, whatever it is. And when he became very friendly with that servant. He really liked him. And he said, when he asked him, what do you do? So he says he's working for this Jew. So this Pharisee says, listen to me. I have no children. Come with me, and you can be as my son. I will take care of you and everything that you need. You won't lack for anything. He says, about your master, don't worry about him. I'll give him money. I will make sure that he's appeased, and he will agree to give you over. But this was the era, I guess, that people were apprentices could not leave without permission. I'm not sure what this is. Anyhow, the Poritz and the inn owner came to an agreement, and for a nice sum, the innkeeper agreed to give his servant to the Poritz. In a few days, the Poritz went on his way. He put his new servant. When he came to the village, close to the hot baths, he gave his servant some allowance, some money, and he said, "While I'm here, getting better in this, learn Latin in the local university." So the servant studied, and in a very short time, he learned the language. And when the parts came back from the sulfur baths or whatever, he met the professors of the university, and they all praised the student. What kind of a mutzachdik servant he has. And he said from the time that the university was established, they don't remember a student that was that diligent and that talented. When the parts and the servant, went on the way, they came to the estate. The parts told the people of God that this boy that is coming with him is his cousin, and he appointed him a manager of his household. Also, got him married, gave him a dowry. Well, the years passed. The parts got old, and he passed away. And this servant inherited him. One day, he remembered the owner of the inn and the chesed he did with him when he sent him to school. And because of this, now he's a well-off, he's a wealthy landowner. So he packs his bags and he goes to his village to see how his first employer is doing. When he came to the inn, he saw a stranger running the inn. So the young parts asked him, "Where's the Jew that used to run the place a few years ago?" He says, "This Jew? Well, he went bankrupt and he became very, very poor. And now he's a beggar. He's a beggar in the nearby town." So this young parts went to town and hired himself a place to stay. And he asked, he made a messenger to let all the poor people of the town know that tomorrow he will distribute charity and gifts to all the poor people in town, Jews, Gentiles and Jews alike. Next day, all the poor people in town came to the house. And when the parts came out, he recognized his previous owner, wearing these tattered clothes. And he gave each one of the people money. And his previous owner, he gave him a really expensive coin. And he told the people that tomorrow he will make a distribution again. At the end of the distribution of the next day, he called his previous owner. And he told him he has an important thing to talk to him. when the poor man, his previous owner came to his room, the parrot, was very interested, inquired him of all the trials and tribulations and adventures that went to him. So he said that he had a servant who was very talented, very precious. And when he left him, his business actually went out of hand. And then he got to what he got. It says, "You should know, my dear sir, that I am that servant," said the parents, "and I have hakara satov for what you did with me. So what I am offering to you now is as follows. You follow, come with me now, and I will give you an inn, so you can hire that inn, and minus the taxes, you will become, as well off as you used to be before." So that poor person, try to find out if there is a Jew that is making a living out of that inn, that if the parts will take the inn from him and give it to him, it will hurt his panasa. So the parrot says there isn't anyone like that. So he agreed to go with him. And the parrots give him on the spot a large sum of money. He'll be able to pay everything that he owes. And he said, when we finish building the inn, I will send for you. A short time after he stayed, the stay of the parrots in town, there was a gneva, there was a robbery in town, one in the town. And the people that saw this poor person, this beggar, paying his debts and becoming somebody who's well-to-do, they decided that for sure he's a thief. Put him in jail. When the shliach of the parrots came to tell him, okay, the building is done, he looked and they told him that he is guilty of robbery, that he stole a great deal of money, he's in jail. So the parrots came to town and he spoke to the judge. And he says, listen to me, I know this person. And I know that he's honest. He would never take anything that is not his. And you should release him immediately. And the judge accepted it, what he said, and he freed him. And they went together to the estate of the parrots. This Jew settled in this inn, this new inn, and the parrots would ask him, in his own business, for advice, and together they were advising one another. Now, this state of this Jew, the other innkeepers, under the ownership of that parrots, did not like it. They were very jealous. I mean, he just came in already, he's going around, in the castle of this parrots, like a Ben Bais. So they went to speak to the priest of the town, and they came to a conclusion that they're going to, fabricate some kind of a story about him that he'll be sentenced to death. There is a goiter, says the priest, that just gave birth to a kid. Let's go and converse it to kill the child and throw him in the yard of this Jew after 11 o'clock at night, because until that time the parrot is in his yard, and this is how we will blame the Jew for killing the boy. And they actually convinced this goiter to kill her child, and she agreed. She killed the child, she put it in a sack, and she went towards the house of the Jew. And that night, because Baruch Hu made it so, that the Jew was telling the parrot stories about Baal Shemtyov. And the parrot was very curious to hear, stayed longer in the house of the Jew, and he sat there until 12 o'clock at night. When he came out, he saw this goiter carrying a sack on her shoulder. And when she saw the parrots, she got scared and ran away. So the parrots went back to the house of the Jew. When she saw that he is getting back to the house, she left the sack and she ran away. In the morning hours, the priest and his cohorts, uh, came to the house of the Jew and they searched and they quote unquote found the body of the baby, and they brought going to a judge that sent him to death. So the pirates came to the judge and convinced him that he guarantees this person, and he told him, "Give me that file, that case, and I will be responsible for to prosecute it." And the judge agreed and gave the Jew to him. The pirates immediately told the Jew, "Go now to the Baal Shemtyov, tell him the entire story, and come back and tell me exactly what he said, word for word." The Jew came to Baal Shemtyov and he told him, "Shemtyov, remember what I told you years ago when I came by you? That this servant will save you one day." So this Jew came to the pirates and told them the word, what the Baal Shemtyov told him. So when the pirates heard the Divrei Baal Shemtyov, he sent a request to the judge. It's true that the first judges already, found this Jew guilty. But my request to you is that we will make a retrial, and we will, put this trial before a great judge. Maybe, the truth will be found out, and we're not going to kill somebody innocent. So the judge agreed, and they set a date for a retrial. And when they led the trial, before the goiter came to testify that the goy killed her baby, the poet hurt her on the head. He says, "Don't you remember what happened that night when I saw you next to the yard of that Jew when there's a sack over your shoulder?" And this goiter became very scared. And she said, "Yeah, I remember. Immediately, he told her, you have to confess immediately before the judge." So the goiter stood before the judge and said that the priest has incited her to kill her own baby. And the judge sentenced the priest to be hung on the very gallows that was intended for the Jew. So the Parah told the Jew, from now on, you have to celebrate Purim twice a year. Besides, the regular Purim, you should add one more day to celebrate the miracle that happened to you, the Sichos of the far-seeing eyes of Baal Shem HaKadosh. Sichos again, Aleinu. Let Hashem all be blessed and fantastic week with the Sichos of Baal Shem HaKadosh. And now we will continue with the story of the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, Rabbi Chaim ben Atam, that the Baal Shem Tov said if he were to meet with him, Mashiach would come immediately. In the time of Rabbeinu HaKadosh Baal Or HaChaim in Yerushalayim, there were many Karoim. Karoim are people who are Tzadikim, that they don't believe in Chazal. They don't believe in any Derabanan. They only believe in Deraisa. And one time, the pressure from the government on the Jews in Yerushalayim was that they put on the Jews in Yerushalayim a great tax that was way more than they could. So the Or HaChaim asked the Kehillah to come together in a private place Haimas to find out, and to them see what's it's to do. And they found a place that was the prayer house of the Karoim, because underneath it there was a kind of a cellar. And when the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh came, he went down the steps to go to the cellar. Suddenly he fainted. So the people said, well, there must be some kind of a dead spirit here, that caused it. And so they dug under the stairs, and they found that under the stairs, the Karaim have put there the Sifra Rambam. So they would step on it each time that they came down, because the Rambam has persecuted the Karaim greatly. Well, now they became very angry at what the Karaim did, being mevaze the Sfarim of the Rambam. So they tax them that they will pay all the tax that was required from the Jews, and the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh has cursed them that they will never ever have a minyan, 10 people to fill out a minyan. And the curse of the tzaddik was miskayim, because people from their congregation died until there was less than a minyan. And if it so happened that somebody became of age or somebody came to Yerushalayim, then other people would die from their congregation. There was always less than 10. Once a group of Karoim came, like 20 families, to live in Yerushalayim, and the small Karoim congregation was very happy, but almost immediately, all the people that came to live in Yerushalayim, there was a plague, and practically all the people died. All the people that came to the opening of this Karoim house, b'shum panim v'ofen, never managed to complete a minyan of 10 people. It's like, the Indian pellets, very, very short, but it's something that is extremely important. Once the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh went along his way, it's a very famous story. And they were in a place that was barren, was in the wilderness, and suddenly the people of the caravan saw there's a great lion coming, before them, and they were very scared. And they showed it to the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh immediately. When the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh saw the lion, he went before him and he exposed his bris kodesh before the lion. Immediately the lion ran away. Well, this is obviously very, very strange. So the people that saw it, they asked him, what is this? So he said that he has never, ever blemished in his bris kodesh, and never even by accident. And he says, and something like this makes a person the image of a man. And when a person is a man, Kadosh Baruch Hu has made men the ruler on all the animals. The animals will be afraid of him, as long as he retains his image of men. The image of men is the kedusha of the covenant. So somebody who keeps his covenant completely, like the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh, like Daniel, all the animals become subservient to him, and they're afraid of him. Important thing to understand and to remember. And now, with your rishus, see we have a lot of people here. Comparatively, you're all welcome. Let's take a quick look at the Sichos Haran for tonight. Okay, here we go. The Sichos Haran for this week. So here we have a Sicha 155, Kuf Nun Hey. This Sicha has to do with Simin Yedzayin in a second Chelek of Likuti Moran Tanina that starts that a person needs to be very much besimcha and Shabbos. Shabbos Kodesh. All this Rabbeinu said on Friday night, and first he asked me, Shabbos, are you happy on Shabbos? So I answered him, sometimes, I have some, awe on me on Shabbos. Rabbeinu says, no, that's not the way. This is not what I'm talking about. The main thing is Simcha. He says, Rabbeinu admonished me a lot. Lios b'simcha daika b'Shabbos. Be happy dafka on Shabbos. And he said this whole Indian that is printed in Likuta Maran Tanina Simin Yudzayin about the Mila of Simcha and Shabbos. And it's also included there that the main yira is elevated dafka through the Simcha of Shabbos daika. That the main thing is the Simcha on Shabbos. Then the yira goes up. This is what we called, he says, what it is that we call yira. And Rabbeinu, spoke, at great length, this holy Sicha, and he admonished us, and especially me, to be sameach v'tov lev, to be happy and have good heart in Shabbos, and enjoy Tanug Shabbos, a lot of delicacies. He says, because, all the expenditures of a person, are already settled in Rosh Hashanah, except for what says Shabbos, Yom Tovim. And he says, even a simple balabais is happy in Shabbos, and the fish, and his zupitza, his kaftan, his coat. And then Rabbeinu told me, now you have something to be depressed about. What he meant was, since he admonished me so much to be b'simcha on Shabbos, it might be the chas v'shalom. Now I'll be Rosh Chodesh even more. Why? Because I have to be b'simcha on Shabbos Kodesh, and I'm not b'simcha. So not only I'm not b'simcha, I'm also broken because I'm not b'simcha, because I'm supposed to be. And really, he read my mind in this, because immediately when he started saying all this, I already started thinking, I started worrying, how on earth am I going to be worried on Shabbos? And the fact when he said this holy diburim, now you'll have what to worry about, he consoled me and he was mechazik me a lot. So at least I wouldn't have more shchayr from the fact that I'm supposed to be happy. At least don't let this make me unhappy. And also the fact that he admonished me a lot to be Simcha on Shabbos. I said, I really want to be b'simcha on Shabbos. And my kavana was, if I'm not zoichet to Simcha b'Shabbos, I want very much to be b'simcha. And already heard from him a lot from the great value of rotzoin, of wanting, and kisufin. And Rabbeinu said to the people, did you hear what he said? He spoke, he said good. And he also admonished us to sing a lot of Zmiros and Shabbos, and don't look at anybody who holds you back from that. People say, I don't want you to sing, I don't feel like singing, I feel like this. Just be strong and sing Zmiros b'simcha, and conduct the Shulchan Yotesh, the entire Shabbos day, with great simcha, because the main simcha is on Shabbos. So, to conclude this particular Inyan, what Simcha and Shabbos Kodesh. And Reb Nosson says, yeah, sometimes I have Yira. Rabbeinu says that the Yira goes up through the Simcha. We already have the union of Sarah Imenu and Sarah Yitzchak. We know that Simcha is something that is the something that comes forth from the union of Yira, from Sphere Sabina. That's why on Shabbos, there's Kuloi Chesed. What we say is we says that you'll be able to rest on Shabbos Kodesh. Shabbos should want our resting on Shabbos Kodesh. Yom Tov will say, make us b'simcha on this Yom Tov, because Shabbos Mitzad HaChesed and Yom Tov is Mitzad Adin. It's a very, very important thing and a very deep union to understand. First of all, the first thing that we need to understand is Rabbeinu says you have to be b'simcha on Shabbos. Is that be b'simcha on Shabbos? If you have problems in singing on Shabbos Kodesh, start as much as you can and force yourself. Force yourself to sing on Shabbos Kodesh Bamtish. And, this is something that is more meant to me than anybody else. I need to have this push to sing Zmiros on Shabbos Kodesh more than anybody else. Baruch Hashem, my son is very good at this, and I'm very happy for that. The union of the why this union of Bina, we're learning on Monday nights the story of the Baal Tefillah, and one of the stories about Tefillah is inside the story. Rabbeinu speaks about various sects when the world became confused and the sense left the world. So there are all kinds of sects, they said, like, what is the tachlis of everything? And dedicated their lives to that. So some said that the most important thing is procreation. So they dedicated their life to that. And others said the most important thing is COVID. So because you see everybody, likes COVID, dedicated their life to that. And one particular group said that they dedicated life. The main thing is they dedicated their life to Ritzicha, to murder. And he says, why did they dedicate their life to murder? This is because you see that everything ends. Everything ends at a certain point in time. So Mimela, the end, they came from that. They came to a conclusion that everything eventually comes to an end, to a tachlis, to kilion, to hefsed, to loss. So if you bring things to Elion, if you destroy, that is the tachlis. And in the story, their king, their ruler was Taka, a woman. The ultimate was a woman, representing the sphere Sabina. Because the judgments come from the Bina. The tachlis of everything. The tachlis of everything is the perfection of everything. And they say that the inyan of Simcha on Shabbos, the Yira, the Yira is elevated through the Simcha of Shabbos. Yira is ultimately the tool with which to receive the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If somebody, is totally ignorant of the greatness of anyone, he has no awe, no yira in the presence of that particular person. The more awe you have from a person, a Talmid Chacham, a Gadol, even an artist, even a musician, the more awed you are by their artistry, whatever it is, the more open you are to pay attention and to receive their greatness. Yira is the female aspect that allows you to receive the kedusha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It is Simcha that allows us to receive the kedusha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Rabbeinu has a marvelous sentence that I spoke, me and my wife spoke about it, on Shulchan Shabbos today. Rabbeinu says that it is extraordinary how incredible is a glimpse of Olam Haba that the person can get in this world when the Kadosh Baruch Hu shines at him, sometimes. And this is beyond compare. You cannot explain this to anyone. What does it mean to feel Olam Haba and Olam Hazeh? Every once in a while, every person who wishes for it is zeicha to experience a moment in which he experiences a pleasure that is so spiritual, that is so completely holy, that it's not from this world at all. It's a shtickle olam haba. The only way that you can get there is through simcha. You have to make your own achonis, because Baruch is going to give it to you. It's going to be a present, but you have to make the tool that you have in order to get a taste of this is make yourself b'simcha. Sing whatever zmiras you can. Set divrei Torah on the table. Force yourself to be b'simcha. How can I be b'simcha if I'm worried? I have worries, I have this, I have that. The answer is, bitochen doesn't mean that you don't have worries. You can have worries. In fact, fighting the worries is not going to help. It's not going to chase them away. Trusting HaKadosh Baruch Hu, bitochen HaKadosh Baruch Hu means I close my eyes and I don't know. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in control. The worries, what can I do? I worry, I have these worries swirling around me. But don't fiddle with them. Because I worry, I'm going to do this. And because I'm doing, I'm going to do that. You need to do what you need to do, for sure. But don't fiddle with the worries. Don't worry about the worries. And that trust in the Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to give you all the issues. Shabbos is a time where you push all the worries away. There's a whole day for pushing the worries away. And the way to push the worries away is just simcha. Simcha, zmiros, whatever it is that you can. Kadosh Baruch Hu B'Zatam should help us all. We'll have a fantastic, marvelous week, all of us, with everything that we do. And we'll be zoicha B'Zat Hashem to Yeshuas, health-wise, parnasa-wise, children-wise, whatever it is, and be close to Rabbeinu HaKadosh and to all the Tzadikim, because ultimately everybody has to come to the Tzadik. This is the, even Aaron Cohen at the last, the last count has to come to Moshe Rabbeinu and get a ticket from him. Hashem shall be Zercha, will be Zercha this week and every week. Come closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And B'ezrat Hashem, let's stick together. Let's learn together. Monday night we have Sipurey. Wednesday we'll learn the Haran. So we'll do Thursday. Obviously it's a Shabbos. Thank you all for very much for being here tonight. It's a gewalt. I apologize, if I goofed or whatever. But Bezrat Hashem, I'll see you all on Monday night in Mitzvah.